G'day team, Mr. Minimalism here for our weekly training tip. Today we're going to tackle our second instalment of our mobility work, being hip mobility. Now this is essential for your movement prep for activities such as squatting, your kettlebell ballistics, swings and snatches, and your running. Now this helps activate and utilise full hip extension and flexion, which is required for your symmetrical and split stance and single leg patterns. Today we're going to tackle two mobility stretches, being the hip bridge and the hip flexor activation. So let's start with our hip bridge pattern. Now this can be done in a symmetrical and single leg pattern, but we'll start with symmetrical. Feet shoulder width apart, knees bent, palms up, and we're going to activate our hip bridge through our glutes, not our lower back. We're going to have a nice slow controlled push up until we reach the top, and a slow controlled lower. Now you're going to do this 4 sets, 5 reps each leg. 4 sets, 5 reps. And as I said earlier, we can do this in a single leg pattern. So we raise one leg, leaving thighs remaining in line with each other, bridging up through our hips once again, engaging the glute, making sure that is the prime mover to activate your hips mobility stretch, and so on. So we switch sides, 4 sets, 5 reps each side, making sure you take notice if there's any deficiencies or asymmetries within either side of your movement pattern. Now, if you do discover that one side feels uneven or you're having trouble activating on a side in your single leg pattern, make sure you go get yourself a functional movement screen and then the corrective framework to go about fixing it. Next up, we have our hip flexor activation stretch, and we're going to utilise the dowel here to complete that. So in our half kneeling pattern, we're going to have our toes pulled up underneath ourselves on our back leg, that back glute engaged, hands on the dowel, and we're going to push the dowel through the floor for a 5-second burst, remaining nice and tall throughout the movement. Once you activate, forcing the dowel through the ground, keeping that glute activated, you're going to do 4 sets of 5-second bursts each side, then switch. Now, if you don't have your dowel, you can do this without the dowel using a breathing technique. So with our back into our half kneeling position, we're going to have our arms down by our sides, bottom glute engaged. We're going to take a deep nasal breath into the bottom of the stomach, and we're going to drop it out in a big sigh. Ensuring you drop your shoulders at the side. This helps activate your hip flexor. We're going to keep this up without the dowel for a 2-minute period on one side and switch to the other side to let muscle proprioception occur. Now, if you do, like I said, if you find any asymmetries or deficiencies within your movement pattern, get yourself a functional movement screen and then get the adequate corrective framework together to rectify the issues to help you move well and then move often. Tune in next week for another training tip. Thanks very much, and don't forget, less is more.